Hey guys, week 4 of online school. You have made it almost through an entire month of doing school 100% online. Super proud of you guys. Y'all are doing great. I have noticed a little bit of a drop off in turning in stuff, but I'm wondering if that's because last week's assignment was Desmos, which might have been a little bit challenging. I know it was a little change up from what we had been doing. So I'm going to go back to using the kind of online worksheet model because I was getting a lot of good questions from that, a lot of people coming to office hours, and a lot of people turning it in. This week, I encourage you to, if you haven't seen it, Google the HISD grading policy for this fourth 9 weeks. I think that is of great interest to you. I think that that can help you to prioritize which classes you're focusing on. I think it can help you to figure out what you need to focus on each week as we go through. I think it's a really good opportunity for y'all to raise your GPA, especially you guys that maybe were in the C or D or F range in the third 9 weeks. This is a really good opportunity to just get yourself an A for the 9 weeks and move forward and do really well. Also, a state policy with the whole pandemic that's going on. If you pass this year for Algebra 1, if you pass this entire year for Algebra 1, which the fourth 9 weeks grade, assuming that you get an A, which you should, because almost everything is like kind of completion, or I'm giving you the answers, so as long as you're doing the work, you don't have to take the STAR test for algebra, which is a huge help, right? I know that's something that some of us were worried about, don't want to have to sit for that test. If you don't pass both semesters or both the entire year, if you don't have a passing grade for the year for algebra, you're going to have to take that test next year. So super important to take advantage of this opportunity, right? A lot of bad things happening, people losing jobs, people getting sick, lots of bad things happening, but think about how you can sort of take advantage of some of this situation. Spend lots of time with your family. Uh, do something that you enjoy. Maybe think about getting healthier, doing some good things for yourself. But also your school. This is a really good opportunity for you where you shouldn't have a lot of tests happening. The projects aren't really going to be happening full force. So take advantage of this, right? It's a good opportunity. Okay, so moving forward, what we're going to talk about this week is solving equations that are quadratic equations, meaning that they have an x squared in them. And we're going to be solving by factoring. All right, so the big thing that we're going to be taking advantage of here is something called the zero product property. And that's why I have these notes pulled up on the right side for you guys, the zero product property. The zero product property, they give it in terms of an equation here. It says if A times B equals 0. All right, so these are variables, so they represent numbers, right? So if two numbers multiply together and the answer is 0, then it must be true that either A is 0, the first number, or B is 0. And that kind of makes sense, right? Because we know that if we're multiplying two numbers and we get to 0, then one of those things had to be 0, right? And so that's sort of what we're looking at this week as we're going to take advantage of that zero product property to solve quadratic equations, okay? So I want to move to these examples that I have over here. All right, so 16 times some number equals 0. Well, what does this number have to be, right? Well, it can't be 1, right? Because 16 times 1 is 16. Can't be 2, can't be a negative number because then we would end up with a negative over here. It has to be 0. That's the only number that I can put in here that when it's multiplied by 16 is going to give me 0. All right, now let's look at this example. We've got negative 7 this time. So some number times negative 7 equals 0. Okay, so what number could that be? Well, that also has to be 0. Using the zero product property, one of the numbers in a multiplication problem has to be 0 if the answer is 0. Okay, so let's look here, right? So let's call this number A and let's call this number B. So if A times B equals 0, all right, well, we don't know that A is 0 and we don't know that B is 0, but we do know that one of them is, right? So we know that A is 0 or B is 0. It is possible that both are 0, right? So I guess maybe we should say and or, right? A and or B is equal to 0. Okay, so that's the rule that we're going to be taking advantage of as we solve these equations by factoring. Okay, so now through a little bit of magic, we've got a new example here. Okay, now this new example is something more akin to what we've been looking at over the last few weeks. Okay, so this is an example of a quadratic function, but this one is two binomials, right? It's two binomials. All right, binomials are those things that have two terms, right? So there's two things that have two terms. All right, now this is what we call factored form. All right, or factored form. Right. Now you've had problems in the past where you've had to either use the box method or use FOIL to turn this into a trinomial, right? A set of things that has three terms. But this time we actually want to keep it in factored form. Factored form is going to make this really easy. And here's why. We're going to relate this to the zero product property. All right. Here we have two numbers, x plus 7 and x minus 5. If we knew what x is, then that would just be two numbers, right? Because we could kind of plug in and know what those numbers were. And these two numbers are, because there's no symbol in here, they're multiplied together, and the answer is 0. So this is a zero product property problem, right? It says x plus 7 times x minus 5. So something times something else equals 0. So let's think about this. Because of our zero product property, we now know that either x plus 7 has to equal 0 or x minus 5 has to equal 0. Okay. Well, we can figure out what number would x have to be. What number would x have to be that would make x plus 7 equal to 0? What number would x have to be so that when I add 7 to it, it equals 0, right? Well, I can just solve this out. I can say x plus 7 equals 0. All right, now how would I solve this equation? I would just subtract 7 from both sides of the equation. All right, plus 7 and minus 7, that goes away. So now I'm left with x equals 0 minus 7 is negative 7. So one of my answers to this problem is that it's possible that x is equal to negative 7. All right, so let's put that in here, right? So if x is equal to negative 7, then this problem would look like this. Negative 7 plus 7 times negative 7 minus 5. So I plugged in negative 7 for both x's here, and that's equal to 0. So let's check and see if this is true. Negative 7 plus 7 is 0. All right. It's negative 7 and minus 5. Negative 7 minus 5 is negative 12. So this is 0 times negative 12 equals 0. Is that true? Well, yeah. 0 times anything is going to be 0. So that's good. All right. Now let's get the second answer, right? We're going to have a second answer because it's also possible that x minus 5 is equal to 0. All right, so let's solve that out. So x minus 5 equals 0. In order for that to be true, right, I can add 5 to both sides. So this goes away. I'm left with x equals 5. So if x is equal to 5, then I will also get 0. So let's check that answer. All right, so let's put that into the original problem. 5 plus 7 times 5 minus 5 equals 0. And a lot of you guys are already seeing this, right? 5 minus 5 is 0, right? So this is going to give us 12 times 5 minus 5 is 0 equals 0. Is this true? Yeah, 12 times 0 is 0, so this is good. So I had two different answers that worked. I had x equals negative 7 or x equals 5. Both of those things produced an answer of 0, so they are both good. So most of our problems are going to have two answers. Okay, now let's do another example. This time I'm going to give you something that's in multiplied form, and we're going to have to factor it and then use the zero product property. So here comes a little bit of magic. Okay, so here is our third example. All right, so our example says x squared plus 9x minus 22 is equal to 0. Okay, so again, we've got this equation that's equal to 0. Every problem that you do this week, you need to make sure that on the right side of the equation you have a 0. All right? So we'll talk about that in a minute on example 4. Okay, so now we need to figure out here what number can I plug in for x that will give me 0 here. Okay, well, we can't really solve it when it's in this form, so we want to factor this. Okay, so when we factor, we do the diamond method, right? So on top of the diamond method, we put a times c. A here is 1, c is negative 22, so that's going to be negative 22. And then the b value, right, this is that middle number that goes on the bottom, and so that's a positive 9. So we're looking for factors of, or numbers that multiply to, negative 22, all right? And we need for those two numbers to add to give me the number 9. All right, so let's think of numbers that I can multiply to give me negative 22. So there's negative 22 and 1, or negative 1 and 22. All right. Another option would be like negative 2 and 9, or negative 9 and 2. I'm sorry, not 9, 11. I'm so sorry. So, yeah. So negative 2 times 11 is negative 22. Negative 11 times 2 is also negative 22. Can't divide it by 3, can't divide it by 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8. So I think we're good there. These are my 4 options here for numbers that multiply to give me negative 22. Now the question is, do any of these add to give me 9? So let's check that out. So negative 22, if I was to try negative 22 plus 1, that's going to give me negative 21. So that's not 9, so that doesn't work. Same thing here. That's not going to give me 9. So neither of those are going to work. Now, the difference here does seem to be 9, right? So negative 2 and 11 and negative 11 and 2. The question is, which one is going to give me positive 9, right? So the one that's going to give me positive 9 is the one that's got a bigger number that's positive, right? So negative 2 plus 11, you can use a calculator for that, is 9. So these are going to be my two factors right here. Okay, so that means that I can factor this equation. Instead of x squared plus 9x minus 22, I can rewrite it as x minus 2 times x plus 11. All right, and that is equal to 0. So now we've got a problem that's just like example number 2, where we need to use the zero product property. All right, to use the zero product property, I know that one of these two things has to equal 0. So I will have a correct answer for both the x number that makes this 0 and the x number that makes this 0. So I simply set both of these equal to 0 and then solve them both. This time I'm going to set it up like this. This is how I really like to set up these problems. I'll get one answer here, I'll get one answer here, I'll circle it, and I'll be done. Okay, so x minus 2 equals 0. I'm going to add 2 to both sides. So x is equal to 2. Now, hopefully you're starting to notice that this is always just going to be the opposite number of what we had there, right? So it's like the opposite of what you got when you factored. Okay, and then to solve this one, I'll subtract 11 from both sides. Again, that makes a 0 pair. So x equals 0 minus 11 is negative 11. So here are my two answers, x plus 2 and x equals negative 11. All right, so you can always check by multiplying, right? If you plug in a 2 here, right, if you take 2 and you plug it in for x, that's going to give you 0. 0 doesn't matter what that is, because 0 times anything is going to give you 0, so you know that that's good. All right, same thing here. If you put the negative 11 here, negative 11 plus 11 is going to be 0, and so it doesn't matter what this one gives you, the entire thing is going to be equal to 0 because they're multiplied. Okay, I want to give you one more example. This one, I'm not going to work the whole thing. I just want to show you how you can get started if your equation is not set equal to 0. So just a little bit of magic. Okay, so here's example number 4. I just have 30 seconds, so I'm just going to show you really quickly how to set this one up. You'll notice that my equation is not set equal to 0. So I need to make this a 0. How do I make a 4 a 0? Well, I subtract 4. All right, so I need to subtract 4 from both sides of the equation. 4 minus 4 is 0. There's my 0. And this side is just going to be Then negative 10 minus 4. I can only combine the like terms here, right? So that's minus